So more on Las Vegas debate. I guess I should be happy that, we're engaging, we're talking, right? We're actually having a conversation. Las Vegas debate fight night was fantastic, just bloodbath. The cage match, just they cannibalized the shit out of each other. It's actually kind of incredible when you think about the rhetoric that people use when it comes to debate and talking, and it's like, oh my God, he's destroyed, he's totally, but ultimately, they just said a bunch of words, and they, disagreed with each other, and they all went home. In fact, nobody even threw a punch. There wasn't even any, instance that was even close to being, a violent moment. So it just shows you that people use violent imagery as metaphors to make this boring shit seem a lot more exciting. But, I have two videos out there that talk about how Mayor Bloomberg's, he's basically Trump 2.0, right? You have Pete, who's Obama 1.5, and then you have Bernie, who is FDR 2.0. Well, he's Trump 2.0, so you don't get nothing different. You get nothing different. With the Bloomberg, you don't get anything. You're replacing one arrogant billionaire with another arrogant billionaire. That's absolutely right. So Warren got a bunch of good lines in. Amy Klobuchar, she had voted to make English a national language, and we, the white culture, America Today, the English-speaking America Today, had actually took the culture over the language of the people that were here. There was no assimilation. There was no respect for the culture that was already here. English is one of the most popular languages in the world, but I think India, China, with Mandarin, those are more popular languages, which means if we're trying to, encompass the biggest group of people, utilitarian approach, who's the biggest group of people. But we've been with English not as an official language. It's actually official language in Colorado, but it's not in America. But all the official documents, all the official thing, most people do speak English. All the road signs and the rules. So that's all in English. But it's been popular. English has spread all over the place, and I think one of the main things is because people get to choose to speak it. You start enforcing that shit, that's nationalism. It's authoritarianism. I don't know how you are whenever somebody tries to tell you or make you do something that you don't want to do, but you automatically say, no, I don't want to fucking learn that shit. No, I don't want to learn that shit. And if you look at the, history of how English was foisted upon immigrants and how English was foisted upon Native Americans, it's terrible. It's awful. If English is beneficial to people, they'll speak it if they want to speak it. In the meantime, I think America could actually learn a couple languages or two. What do you call, what do you call a bilingual, what do you call a person who speaks two languages? Two languages. It's a bilingualist. What do you call a person who speaks three languages? A multilingualist. What do you call a person who speaks one language? An American, because they don't learn any other fucking languages but English. Now, just consider this, America. We fought the British in the American Revolution because we didn't want to live the British way of life. We didn't want the tyranny, the royalty, the oppression. We wanted democracy. We wanted to vote. We wanted elections. We wanted participation in our government. We wanted a constitution. So we killed a bunch of British in order to get those motherfuckers out of here so we could establish our own nation. And so that's the birth of America. Well, the birth of America, we're going to have, the same language, the same religion, the same birthplace, the same blood. So, even though Britain, it was like we became friends immediately afterwards, but then War of 1812 kind of shows that we shouldn't have been friends. We didn't side with the French Revolution because of our friendship with the English. And, fuck the English. Fuck the English. When I read about the English, I have more, with the ancestors, Dutch. When I read about the Dutch, all those are the German ancestors, right? But the English are Anglo-Saxons. They're Germans too, and so are the French. They're the Franks, so those are all Germanic tribes. English is just a Western Germanic language. So should English be a national language? No, I think actually the popularity of English has been doing wonderful and great because it hasn't been mandated, because it hasn't been enforced. And, you know, in terms of the only, I guess, valid argument that I would accept is that if we all spoke one language, it would be very efficient and we all could speak and we all could get along. But that one language, it would have to be logically, you'd have to come to some sort of universal language, some sort of, you know, idea that this is the language that we're all going to, you know, jump onto and we're all going to choose. And if you did that sort of kind of analysis, then I'd be more on board, because it is useful. It's very useful. Right? The Tower of Babel had everybody speaking a bunch of different languages, and then they couldn't speak, and therefore they couldn't build a tower to God. So, you know, by everybody speaking different languages and nobody speaking the same languages, nobody was communicating, nobody was talking. So Amy voted to make English a national language. Amy has voted with Donald more times than other Democrats. Amy has anointed 56% of Donald Trump's appointments. Bloomberg is a racist piece of shit. He assumes all black folks have a gun on them and that all the crime comes from the black community. All the crime? Okay, so child abuse, sexual assaults, cocaine, insider trading, white-collar crime, Wall Street crime, war crimes, corporate crime. This is all black community, huh? The FBI says 82% of white people who are killed by another white person. So what the fuck is up with all the white-on-white crime? What the fuck is up with all the white-on-white crime? So, yeah, Mark Bloomberg said that this conversation is ridiculous. We're not going to throw out capitalism. Bernie is a continuation of MLK's legacy. It's crazy to say that Bernie's radicalness isn't what we need right now. The Democrats are the Republicans, and the Republicans are batshit crazy, so Bernie Sanders is a moderating voice. Everybody is wrong on all these issues. So he's a moderating voice. The fact that they don't even embrace socialism to begin with at all. Michael Bloomberg says, we're capitalists here, just like Nancy Pelosi. We're all fucking capitalists here. Amy Klobuchar, yes, I'm a capitalist. Liz Warren, I'm a capitalist to my bones. So they're going to capitalize, what, on anything and everything? Capitalize on the presidency as much as Donald has? So the emoluments clause doesn't mean shit no more, right? We made Jimmy Carter sell his peanut farm. But now, you know, you can be president, own 50 businesses. Nobody, you know, nobody's paying attention. Nobody's, you know. So capitalize like an opportunist is precisely what a capitalist to her bone would do. A capitalist to her bones. So when it comes to MLK, he says communism forgets the individual, capitalism forgets the community. And that's why MLK called for the synthesis of the two, capitalism and communism. We need to have a synthesis of the two. So that's where we're at. We have a mixed system, a mixed socialist, a mixed capitalist system, and we've had it since FDR and Eisenhower. We probably had it before then. There was government programs before then. The post office has been around since the beginning. So is that socialistic? The roads and the schools and the libraries and this and that and the parks. The communism forgets the individual. Capitalism forgets the community. So a person who says that they're only a capitalist, they're not a mixed socialist capitalist. They haven't said, you know, I'm a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. A moderate would say we need a mixed socialist capitalist system. They're all extremists. They're capitalist extremists. They have no sympathy to socialism or socialistic ideas. So they are just a capitalist extremist. They want to pretend like they're fucking moderates. They're capitalist extremists. And so they're going to be running towards capitalism and away from anything that might be socialism. Even, you know, the rhetoric of Elizabeth Warren is fantastic, but she's a capitalist to her bones. So if communism forgets the individual, capitalism forgets the community, well, that means Elizabeth Warren is a capitalist who's going to forget the community. They're just a bunch of individualistic, greedy, selfish assholes. Klobuchar, Warren, Michael Bloomberg, they're 100% capitalists. None of them have any sympathy for socialism. So, therefore, it's going to be a heartless capitalist, only trying to make money, forgets about the community, who cares about everybody else, just make sure you get yours. That's the kind of person that, you know, Michael Bloomberg, Amy Klobuchar, and Elizabeth Warren is. So, God, we need talk about if Bernie is the radical in people's minds. You're not thinking of Hunter S. Thompson or Eugene Debs or Lenin or, Shay. I mean, Hitler's pretty fucking radical, right? He's not a goddamn Hitler. Can we agree that Bernie isn't a goddamn Hitler? He's not a radical in the sense that he's going to destroy shit. He's a radical in the sense he's building shit, building new bridges, building new homes, building, a healthcare system for everybody. So these 100% capitalist extremists have forgotten about the community, they've forgotten about everybody. They're going to be against social spending, anything that's socialistic. They can't embrace even partial socialism. And socialism, ultimately, if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty, you want to get down to the meat and potatoes, you want to get down to the nuts and bolts of the machine. A socialist is a person who cares about the working class. A socialist is a person who says that the working class should own the means of production, the factories and the things that produce shit. So the shit that produces shit, that should be the working class. If the working class has the means of production, then the working class can make laptops and cars and houses and everything that everybody would ever need for everybody. Now, just handing it all out, yeah, it's going to bankrupt people. But we only have 5% of the American people that don't have health care. We only got 500,000. It's a shit ton. 500,000 people in this country that are homeless, but 500,000 compared to 320 million, million Americans, 500,000 ain't shit. It's ridiculous that we have any homeless. So the fact that we have such extremes that have a little bit of socialism, that give a shit a little bit. Liz Warren, she's got good rhetoric, good progressive rhetoric, but if you scratch the surface, she's not the progressive. If you want a progressive, Bernie Sanders is more progressive on a whole host of issues. He's also got more articulate vision. He's, a socialist. I've never heard him defend capitalism, but when you got extremists, even Elizabeth Warren has been the progressive on the American scene forever. Nobody else is even around at all. So both Democrats and Republicans, we're going to assume, are going to be more right-wing than, Elizabeth Warren. But if she's a capitalist, a right-wing capitalist, Bernie is a moderating voice. Bernie is very much a moderating voice in this race. So, yeah, let's get back to Eisenhower Republicanism and make sure you go vote for Bernie. Bernie Sanders. What's up? New York. What's up, New York?